I think it's important to have these higher people to help you because that's the way, once again, that's the way that you grow and expand because you can't do it all. There's just no way possible. Even if you're like, well, I have been, but you probably shouldn't be. You probably can go further if you bring in an expert or someone else that can assist you and now you can focus on other things or things that you would like to do. So
totally agree.
Embrace a long-term perspective. So this one can be tricky as well because I know sometimes when people ask us, well, what's coming up within the next year? What's coming up within the next 5 years? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any idea at this point. But when you're thinking about business, trying not to think about just what's happening immediately and thinking further as to where you want the business to be. So like, for example, maybe SOPs is maybe not so important for you because you're like, I'm just starting out. It doesn't matter. At some point, you may want to implement it because it's needed if you're going to hand it off to someone in your business, if you're going to hand it off to someone else, a VA or someone handling your business. So it's important for you to start to embrace and think of a long-term perspective.
Yeah, when we started our cleaning business, one of the things we said was, we're just going to do this thing. There was no, all right, the goal is $1 million today. It was like, no, we're just going to do this thing. And the goal
is good and bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree it's good and bad. But most people, like when I speak to people and they want to get into the cleaning business, I always ask them, like, what do you want to do? Like, what are you treating this as a vehicle to get to? And then once I know, okay, well, I have some debt that I want to pay off. Okay, how much debt do you have? $50,000. Okay, when do you want to pay it off by? Okay, how much money do you need to make in your cleaning business to kind of get there or outside your 9 to 5 or whatever? So now we're thinking from that perspective versus like, I want to build this business and I want to make money now. Because when you think about business that way, I guarantee you it will not go well. I've spoken to people like, yo, I want to make $1 million. Like, do you know how much it takes to make, do you know how much money it takes to make $1 million or going viral or something like that? So most people don't have that long-term perspective and kind of takes a while to get there too.
No, what I was saying was good and bad when I think about our students, because they've seen some of our students do that, hit that different milestones, ranges from 5,000 1 month to 10,000 to 50,000.
Which is why we show ranges.
Yeah, but I think people just start to focus only on that. I know for us, like you said, it was different coming in. We're like, we just want to start this business and maybe help to pay off some debt. An extra 500 is helpful for me. To help to pay off debt, and for almost more than America, extra 500 is helpful a month. However, people come in, they're like, yeah, I want to be doing 10,000, 50,000, and you're kind of wondering what's the reason behind that. So I think it's good and bad in that you have something to strive for, but I find that some people are just so close-minded on that number, it makes it a bit more difficult. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And then when you sacrifice the short-term gains for the long-term sustainability, so instead of taking out that $200 that you got, like Alex, we interviewed him as well, one of our first $1 million student, and he said what people will do is they'll make $200 in their cleaning business and they'll take it out.
To do what?
To spend, to go to pay a bill or whatever. He's like, instead of taking it out, how about you reinvest that back into marketing so that next month you make the $400 or you make $250. So now instead of making $200, you made $250. Instead of taking that out, you put it back in. Now you made $300. So sacrificing those short terms for the long term gains is going to be super important, and that's one of the things that we've done. But I think we could have probably done it better.
Well, do what better?
Like making the sacrifices.
What? Disagree.
Okay, what you got?
No, I'm saying I feel like it worked for what we needed. I don't know that I feel like you need to turn everything off to go for this one goal, unless it's a dire need. And I don't think it ever felt like a dire need for us. It was something we were working towards, but it wasn't a dire need. So I think it does make a difference as to what position you're in, like what's happening in your life. But for us specifically, it wasn't a dire need. It was like, okay, we're doing this because we want to, not because we need to, which makes a difference.
Yeah.
And lastly is just continuing to learn and adapt. Learning for us is one of the biggest things. We spend thousands of dollars on our coaches every month, every year. That is not something that we skip out on. We don't play about that. We're willing to buy a course. We're willing to invest in ourselves. Those things are not an issue for us. But I think at the beginning, it did take time for us to get to that just because of new to entrepreneurship. What does it really mean? Not knowing, which you would think you will go to a coach, right? You want to go to someone that's doing what you don't know how to do. But at that time, our mindset just wasn't in that place. And I hope that with podcasts like this and other podcasts that you listen to and things that you consume, you are able to shift your mindset about what coaching can provide to you and continue to learn and adapt to the market that you're in and how important that is.
Definitely would have got coaching a lot sooner to learn and adapt to the market changes, to things that people are doing. Because at the end of the day, you really don't know if you're in your own bubble. If you're not around networking, if you're not around networks or like-minded individuals or even coaches or mentors, you don't know what's happening around you. You just literally in your bubble doing your own thing. So I think for us, definitely would have got a coach a lot sooner. But it took us a while to learn that we needed to invest in ourselves.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you were there quicker because you were listening and reading and around, even if you're not physically around other people, but you consuming the different podcasts, you were being opened up to that in different ways. So it took me a bit longer than it took you to get on board.
And then we're also going to post our episode on our coaches podcast. If you guys didn't watch it, full transparency, we're going to post that episode probably on our shows that you guys can hear it. For those who don't listen
to everything else,
to everything else, and we'll post that. And it gives you a lot of insight on not just the business, but then also the marriage and relationship of how we operate. So that will be another one. But yeah, continuously learning and adapting, being able to make constant changes, being able to get feedback, being able to maneuver. That's going to be important for you. So especially, that's one thing I definitely would have hoped we would have gotten sooner.
So I just want to make sure that we recap. Maybe you just jumped right in the middle, but want to recap on what we were talking about, the 7 lessons we've learned in our businesses. So 1, making sure to start sooner.
Don't wait, people. Stop waiting.
2, scale products faster. Do what you're doing at a faster pace. It probably can be done at faster. You might be scared, though.
Marketing is an investment, not an expense.
3, avoid overcommitting. 4, build a brand beyond yourself. 5, hire for roles and not tasks. 6, embrace a long-term perspective. And lastly, 7, continue to learn and adapt. Business is always changing. You don't know it all. You will never know it all. And that's fine. You're not supposed to. But just being open to getting feedback, being open to knowing different ways about going things, and that helps us to continue to grow, really.
Yes, don't just listen to these strategies. Take action, implement them in your businesses, implement them in your life. And as always, want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the More Than a Side Hustle podcast. We invite you to stay connected. We invite you to like. And then also don't just like, subscribe. But also don't just subscribe. Share it with someone because that's how you grow. But then last but not least, leave us a 5-star review because we like 5 stars. That's what we want. And you got to ask for what you want in this life. So we ask you, if you listen to the full thing, to leave us a 5-star review and a comment so that we can read it live on the podcast.
Thank you. See you again next week.
Peace.